the day I received Ethan's diagnosis. He suddenly installed a security camera in our master bedroom. That night, I watched him vow to his mistress over the phone, "I'll never touch her again. I've sent you all the account passwords, check them whenever you want." I decided to honor our marriage through abstinence. As I stared at his flushed, impassioned face, I quietly fed the diagnosis report into the shredder. Abstinence? Fine. Let it last a lifetime. When the letters ALS glared from Ethan's medical report, my knees nearly buckled. 3 months earlier, Ethan had been hospitalized after a mountain climbing accident. I'd insisted on comprehensive tests during his recovery, seeking reassurance. Instead, I got this death sentence. The doctor's pitying gaze followed me out. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, incurable, irreversible, only manageable through medication to slow its progression. Ethan, barely 30. Devastatingly handsome. Partner at a prestigious law firm. As New York's most sought-after divorce attorney, he epitomized razor-sharp intellect and ruthless efficiency. His Spartan lifestyle of pre-dawn runs and alpine expeditions had sculpted him into human perfection. The thought of this paragon reduced to a bedridden invalid made me physically ill. I sat on a park bench watching commuters surge like tides until sunset. When I finally rose, my decision crystallized. Through sickness and health, I'd stand by him. Lucas and I would face this together. The townhouse was dark when I returned. 7-year-old Lucas sat cross-legged in his room, arranging black and white stones with monastic focus. His chess prodigy status had landed him on Good Morning America last year. "Have you eaten?" I asked, smoothing my voice. "Mrs. Jenkins made spare ribs with lotus root soup." His eyes never left the Gobin. "Where's Dad?" "Out running." Lucas' economical speech mirrored both parents. 2 hours later, as I debated revealing the diagnosis, Ethan returned wearing black athletic gear that clung to his marathoner's frame. Frost glinted in his hair. "Are you insane? It's below freezing." The doctor's warning echoed. ALS patients lose body heat rapidly. Cold accelerates deterioration. Runners don't feel cold. He unboxed a Nest camera, angling it at our bed. Security upgrade. Recent burglaries. But our privacy. Who'd waste time watching you? His derision stung. We slept back to back that night. A canyon of Egyptian cotton between us. Let him rest, I thought. He just closed that celebrity divorce case splashed across page 6. I jolted awake at 3 a.m. to empty sheets. Panic propelled me through dark halls until I spotted him through glass doors, barefoot in silk pajamas. Cell phone glowing against his cheek as midnight wind whipped through Central Park West. I hurriedly grabbed my coat and walked over. "I won't touch her again." A hushed voice carried through the air, making me freeze mid-step. "The password and account details have been sent to you. You can log in and check anytime. I've decided to remain faithful for love." Through the glass, I stared blankly at Ethan. His typically stern, impassive face now burned with raw intensity. Watching his flushed cheeks and agitated expression, I slowly processed the implications of his words. For the first time, he seemed like a stranger to me. Ethan had always been sexually driven, disciplined, and ascetic by day, yet insatiable at night. Over recent years, as his career pressures mounted, he'd perfected an impenetrable facade of meticulous professionalism. Only during our intimate moments, when I'd hear his ragged breathing at my ear, could I glimpse traces of the blushing young man who had pursued me in grad school. We'd met in a large lecture hall during our master's program. The aloof, arrogant student had fixed me with smoldering gazes and trembling confessions until I surrendered. I became a psychology professor while he climbed from junior attorney to nationally renowned divorce lawyer and firm partner, now earning 8 figures annually. We shared core traits: emotional stability, pragmatism, refined tastes, and relentless ambition. My stable academic career balanced parenting duties while his professional star soared. After 8 years of mutual respect and support, we lived in a multi-million-dollar penthouse with our prodigy son, the picture-perfect family envied by all. But 6 months ago, subtle shifts began. His rigid 8 p.m. jogging routine suddenly moved to 7 p.m., returning exhausted by 10 p.m., skipping our nightly family hour. When questioned, he'd murmur about complex cases requiring extended clarity walks. Mental labor can be more draining than physical. He'd say, "I understood." Then intimacy dwindled. Assuming work stress affected his health, I discreetly urged comprehensive checkups during his recent hiking injury hospitalization. Now, reality proved far more complicated. Lying in darkness, I stared at the ceiling, still hearing Ethan's unfamiliar words and alien expressions. Strangely, after 2 devastating blows today, burning curiosity overpowered my expected heartache. What kind of woman could reduce Ethan, now the epitome of icy professionalism, to such vulnerable frenzy? I acted decisively. The next evening, I slipped sleeping pills into his milk. When he fell into deep slumber, I guided his fingerprint to unlock his phone. Staring at last night's call record, neural connections suddenly sparked. I'd seen this number before. 3 months ago, after Ethan's mountain fall, I'd requested the Good Samaritan's contact from Policito Express Gratitude. This was that identical number. My eidetic memory for digits never failed. When I'd called then, an older-sounding woman had gently declined meeting, claiming any decent person would have done the same. After hanging up the phone, the officer smiled and told me, "Most people might ask for a reward, but she definitely won't." When I asked why, he explained they'd recognized her during questioning. Sophia Martin had been featured in the news as an inspirational figure, a tragic story about staying loyal to her paralyzed husband for 13 years while raising his child from a previous marriage. Now running a lamb offal soup stall at the suburban park entrance, he insisted someone with her moral fiber would never accept compensation. Late that night, I scrolled through Ethan's phone gallery. Whether from overconfidence or carelessness, he'd made no effort to hide hundreds of photos featuring the same woman. Under starry skies and string lights, Sophia smiled warmly while chopping ingredients, serving soup, or chatting with customers. Her outfits transitioned from summer dresses to winter coats across 6 months of snapshots capturing cozy domesticity. 3 days later, I sat at the Martin family lamb soup stall watching Sophia crouch by flower beds, murmuring to stray kittens. 2 male customers joked, "Sophia cares more about these strays than making money." She hurried over apologizing. "I'm so sorry. They looked so hungry I got distracted." One man waved it off. "This place feels like home for them. Your kindness makes the whole park brighter." After they left, I approached. "1 lamb soup, please." Through rising steam, I studied her mid-30s with laugh lines, low ponytail strands framing a face radiating gentle charm. "First timer? Let me give you extra long pieces," she offered warmly. As I ate, my thoughts churned. Could this paragon of virtue really be Ethan's mistress? The question dissolved when Sophia suddenly sat across from me. "You're Ethan's wife," she stated calmly, eyes meeting mine. "I have good memory, saw your photo on his phone months back." My fingers tightened around the spoon. 6 months ago, Ethan had replaced our family lock screen with generic landscapes. "I know why you're here," she continued, voice steady. "If you'll believe me, there's nothing improper between us." Ethan would stop for soup after runs. When he seemed stressed, I offered comfort as any decent person would. Maybe he misinterpreted my kindness. Her sigh carried weary resignation, fingertips brushing a faded wedding band. He started spouting nonsense, but I found it laughable. Let alone being a married man. Even if he were single, someone of his social standing would never look twice at someone like me. I told him it was just a momentary impulse. But he wouldn't listen. Instead, He became increasingly inappropriate, sometimes calling me against my will to say outrageous things. To be honest, I was planning to talk to you even if you hadn't come, I said, watching the layer of white fat slowly congeal along the rim of my bowl. Attorney Ethan must be under tremendous pressure to act so irrationally. As his wife, perhaps you could help him more. Sophia sighed deeply before nodding. I looked up steadily. So you're saying all these incidents were Ethan's one-sided infatuation, and you've been trying to dissuade him? Her breath caught when I continued. Was installing cameras in my master bedroom for your viewing pleasure also his impulsive act against your wishes? I already reprimanded him for that, she said stiffly. Utterly ridiculous. What about your mountain hiking trip then? I pressed. When he carried you down after your sprained ankle and fell himself, did he drag you there against your will too? Sophia's pupils dilated as she shot up. Hiking? I don't know what you're talking about. I stared coldly. I called to thank you afterward. Has your famous memory failed so soon? A customer's shout for takeout interrupted us. Sophia hurried to the stall, movements jerky as she ladled lamb tripe soup. A metallic crash echoed, the entire steaming pot overturned, splattering boiling broth across the concrete. She yelped as scalding liquid splashed her hands, eyes instantly watering. The cursing customer stormed off as I stood to leave, careful to avoid the greasy mess. Wait! Her tearful voice stopped me. Sophia stood trembling, blisters already forming on her reddened palms. I was upset about my stepson's fight that day. Ethan suggested hiking might cheer me up. After his fall, I panicked and called emergency services. I avoided you because, her tears fell freely now. I didn't want you to misunderstand. Emily! What the hell are you doing? Ethan's enraged shout made me freeze. I hadn't seen such raw emotion on his face in years, not since the car accident when he'd finished his damn merger negotiation before visiting me at the hospital. His navy bespoke suit, reserved for high-stakes deals, hung slightly askew as he rushed to Sophia's side. His gaze swept over the carnage before settling on her tear-streaked face. Wordlessly, he pulled her into a crushing embrace. Did she hurt you? He demanded, voice unsteady. Sophia's muffled sobs shook both their bodies. Don't, Ethan murmured into her hair, eyes clenched shut. Remember your favorite saying? The boat has passed countless mountains. Your suffering's over, Sophia. Nothing will ever make you cry again. He didn't glance my way once. The camera shutter clicks sounded unnaturally loud. Sophia sprang back like she'd been burned, hands fluttering. I didn't mean, it's not. I simply stared, phone still raised, as Ethan shielded her with his body. The rancid smell of cooling offal filled the air between us. Don't say another word. Let me handle this. Ethan cut her off sharply, turning to me with the composed demeanor of a seasoned attorney, his gaze piercing. Emily, we'll discuss this at home. This park is near your university, students come and go constantly. Making a scene here would only humiliate you. He glanced at the mess on the ground. Bullying a vulnerable woman? Is this who you are? I met his stare, voice steady. You're worried about my students seeing me? Then perhaps you should explain why my husband was clinging to a widow like a raging fire in public. Was that thrilling for you? Ethan's eyes narrowed, a mix of fury and disbelief flashing across his face. To him, I'd always been gentle, elegant, unflappable. He'd never seen this side of me, hell. I'd never seen this side of me. Slapping both of you would be justified, I said, but I won't take the blame for someone else's mess. Turning to Sophia, who was quietly cleaning up, I asked, Ms. Martin, your silence isn't an admission, is it? She flinched. After a tense pause, she lifted her chin defiantly. Fine. I'll say it, I knocked everything over myself. Happy now? Tears welled in her eyes as she looked at Ethan. Mr. Harper, take your wife and leave. Don't come back. I refuse to serve either of you again. Customers began gathering nearby. What's going on? Lena, you okay? Who's causing trouble? Hostile glares landed on me. Ethan gripped my wrist, dragging me toward the parking lot. I struggled but couldn't break free. A student bounced a basketball nearby, grinning. Hi, Professor Clark. I forced a smile. Hello. At the parking lot. I wrenched free and strode to my car. Trees blurred past as I drove, tears finally spilling over. I allowed myself 30 minutes, rage, grief, acceptance, numbness. Then I swerved toward the bank. Ethan and I had a joint account where we pooled salaries, bonuses, investments. When we'd opened it, he joked, "You always say I'm bad with words. Let this account speak for me, you're in Lucas's safety net." Satisfied? The balance now exceeded $18 million. The teller frowned. This account was frozen 2 months ago due to a loan default. Didn't you know? Ice flooded my veins. When? 2 months. 2 months. When he'd just recovered from surgery. When I'd been bedridden with fever from nursing him. While I burned with sickness. He'd been laying groundwork to seize assets in our divorce. The irony choked me. I'd regretted acting rashly earlier, showing my hand without preparation. Yet he'd been scheming all along. A man's ruthlessness knows no bounds once his heart changes. Night had fallen when I returned home. Ethan sat on the couch in loungewear, sipping tea like nothing had happened. His eyes met mine. Ethan is with my mom. Let's settle everything once and for all. I sat down, silently watching him. Ethan took a sip of tea before speaking slowly. I meant to have this conversation later. Part of me wanted you and Lucas to enjoy your happy lives a little longer. But since you chose to make a scene today, his eyes softened with practiced sincerity. Emily, I've fallen for someone else. Let's divorce. I remained perfectly calm, even smiling faintly. Ethan, tell me what she offers that's worth betraying 10 years of marriage and abandoning your family? His brow furrowed. After a deliberate pause, he adopted that velvety courtroom voice that used to make juries weep. These years handling divorce cases, they've shown me how transactional marriages become. Then I met Sophia. His throat bobbed emotionally. She's given up her prime years simply out of love and duty. That woman breathed life into my stagnant existence when I didn't realize I was drowning. What do I love? Her resilience through hardship. The way she brings me soup during late nights at the office. Her. I snorted. So your mother's chicken soup isn't warm enough? Had to get takeout elsewhere? The mask slipped. You'll never understand real love. Emily. You're too busy calculating. Then walk away empty-handed. I'll sign. His laugh chilled the room. First, no fault divorce exists. Second, Sophia and I haven't even kissed. Legally, I'm blameless. He leaned forward, all traces of sentiment gone. Don't look so shocked. People change. When I lay bleeding on that mountain trail waiting for rescue, I vowed to stop living for others' expectations. The crystal ashtray left my hand before conscious thought. Blood bloomed between his fingers as he staggered back. You psychotic! Keys jangled as he fled. Mercedes tires screeching from our driveway. Alone. I poured trembling tea. 3 days since discovering the frozen accounts. 3 days since realizing my husband, the state's top divorce attorney, had been quietly dismantling our life. The moon hung high when I finally unfolded the medical report. Stage 2 breast cancer. My phone buzzed. Ethan's text with a photo of his bloodied forehead captioned assault charges pending. Say goodbye to custody. I stared at our wedding portrait above the fireplace. The man who'd written my graduate thesis love notes now weaponized every vulnerability he'd memorized. My fingers dialed Max's number. If Ethan wanted war, I'd bring napalm. In the image, Ethan's forehead was bandaged as he lay with closed eyes on Sophia's lap. Their hands were tightly clasped. The caption read, "Since you don't value him, I no longer feel guilty. Your push finally made me decide to accept him." A declaration, but more accurately, a brazen provocation. Those forged in life's crucibles see through human filth. How could she be some innocent person? That afternoon's overturned hot pot? Calculated. The apology stopping me as I tried to leave? Staged. Because she'd already tipped off Ethan. Ethan could spot profit margins but remained blind to motives. Men are such idiots. I murmured, feeding my diagnosis report into the shredder. The mechanical were steadied my resolve. Yes. My opponents were formidable. The town's beloved kind-hearted woman versus the renowned divorce attorney. But this war, I'd fight. The divorce would happen. My son and assets? Non-negotiable. Most crucially, I'd ensure these star-crossed lovers remained shackled through eternity. I'll make them face one difficulty after another. I rejected Ethan's settlement offer. As a top divorce lawyer, he'd dread litigation, public proof of his failure to negotiate, tarnishing his professional halo. I could wait. Well, not exactly, but certainly longer than them. Sophia's halo would tarnish if she moved too boldly before Ethan's divorce. She'd keep playing the chaste victim, doling out moral lectures at key moments. Meanwhile, Ethan couldn't risk any misconduct during proceedings that might label him the guilty party. So they stewed. At most, he jogged nightly to Sophia's food stall for organ soup. I sipped steaming tea, watching snowflakes dance. Doctors warned ALS patients must avoid high purine foods, like organ meats, to slow deterioration. Ethan returned after a week at the office. I was sorting clutter when he entered. Forehead bandaged. Face stormy. He hauled out a suitcase. Voice cold, "I plan to leave you the house. But your actions destroyed our goodwill. We'll follow legal protocol now." He froze mid-sentence, spotting the photo album in my donation box. "What are you doing?" "Spring cleaning." His jaw tightened as he retrieved our wedding photos. "These are memories." "Exactly. Your memories." I snapped the box shut. "Is Sophia eyeing this property?" "Don't insult her." His knuckles whitened. "She's never mentioned money. Not once." The framed ultrasound photo glinted beneath discarded Christmas lights. Our first pregnancy. Our first loss. His gaze flickered, then hardened. "Choose, sell the house and split proceeds. Or buy out my share." I laughed. "Tell me, Ethan, how's Sophia's soup business doing?" "Must be thriving. With you as her best customer." Snow pattered against the window where we'd once painted Lucas' name in frost. Our miracle baby, born during that icy December. The child he now wanted to share custody of, meaning weekend visits between court dates and organ soup dates. "File the paperwork," I said. "But remember, I'm not the woman who starved herself to keep your mother's approval anymore." This time, I brought evidence. The shredder hummed in the corner, digesting more than medical reports. Bank statements, surveillance photos, restaurant health code violations from a certain soup stall. Let them have their simmering broth and simmering lust. I'd ensure they choked on every spoonful. Anger flashed across Ethan's face before freezing into a mask of tension. He recognized the photo album instantly, filled with every memory from our college days. From his early stalkerish snapshots to our awkward first dates and passionate later years. I'd once stored this treasure in a fireproof safe, swearing we'd revisit these pages when we grew old. My expression remained blank as I snatched the album from his hands and tossed it aside. The heavy thud echoed through our silent apartment. "Aren't you leaving?" I checked my watch. "Isn't this your usual jogging time?" He stood trembling for several heartbeats before spinning toward the door. "Hiding Lucas won't change anything." He spat, hand already on the doorknob. He's my son. His future belongs with me. I won't give up. The slam of the door vibrated through my bones. 30 minutes later, I surveyed the last box of his belongings with grim satisfaction. Our entire shared history now packed for tomorrow's trash pickup. How strange that what once felt like priceless memories could be reduced to 3 cardboard cubes. The phone's ring sliced through my thoughts. "Name's Max," drawled the voice through static. "Heard you're looking for me?" The purple-haired youth slouched in my armchair blew a gum bubble. Combat boots propped on my coffee table. His threadbare jacket sleeves showed careful darning beneath their ripped-out zipper teeth. "You're Max?" I leaned forward. "Sophia's stepson?" Dark eyes flicked upward in silent challenge. I slid an envelope across the glass surface. "My husband's divorcing me for her. I need leverage." "Deal." His arm swept the cash into a battered backpack before I could blink. "No questions?" I raised an eyebrow. "You trust me that easily?" The gum snapping intensified. "Why not? You think I owe her some loyalty?" His bitter laugh sent the wad flying into my ficus. "She's not some saint. When I was 4, she donated my piano lesson fund to charity for a news segment. Said other kids are starving while Dad worked triple shifts." A second envelope disappeared into his pocket. "Know how my old man died?" His voice turned flinty. "Infected bed sores. Our beloved Sophia only washed the parts visitors could see. Your husband's not special, she collects useful idiots. Though rich ones?" He whistled. "New territory." As he left, Max paused with his hand on the elevator button. "So I just make her push for the divorce? That's it? Make it happen cleanly. No messy custody battles. Clean's boring." His grin showed crooked teeth. "Let's make it beautiful." The next morning found me outside Sophia's soup kitchen. Snowflakes catching in my lashes. There she knelt in the slush, tenderly tying an old man's shoes while cameras clicked. Neighborhood retirees murmured blessings for whichever family landed this modern-day saint. My gloved hands tightened around the thermos of homemade broth. Let the show begin. Sophia Martin stood up, her cheeks flushing. With my circumstances, who would ever look twice at me? As she turned, our eyes met. Her face paled. Pressing her lips together, she approached me, chin slightly lifted. "Attorney Ethan said if you dare come near me or lay a finger on me, he'll help me sue you." I lowered my gaze, then looked up with fury contorting my features. "Sophia, what did that message you sent me mean? Are you too involved now? Don't think I won't expose your affair and ruin your reputation forever." Sophia studied me for a moment before laughing softly. "I used to think university professors were untouchable paragons. But getting closer, I see they're no different from street corn harpies." Her gaze turned tender yet pitying. "The world reflects what's in one's heart. I accepted his proposal because he offered his burning heart to me. No woman could resist such genuine devotion. A man as remarkable as Ethan endures immense pressure yet receives no warmth from his family. You never appreciated what you had. But I'm not the schemer you imagine," she continued. "Those circumstances forced my hand. I'd never engage in impropriety while he's married. I remain myself whether he comes or goes. That's all." "You're after his money," I shouted. "Why else would he fight for assets in the divorce?" Her smile held faint disdain. "Everyone knows wealth means nothing to Sophia. I've had countless chances to marry into money these 13 years. Only sincerity moves me." I sneered. "Pretty words. If he loves you so much, why doesn't he divorce you immediately? His money matters more than you." The serene mask slipped momentarily from Sophia's face. "His true feelings are between us." "True feelings?" I jeered. "Let him walk away penniless. If he chooses poverty to be with you, I'll believe it. Otherwise, it's all hypocritical excuses." Sophia's jaw tightened before she spoke deliberately. "What if he does? I'll bring wedding gifts myself. My voice rose theatrically. The whole world will see even his ex-wife admires your grand romance. Your saintly image will shine brighter. As I spoke, a dangerous light kindled in Sophia's eyes. I recognized that look, the surge of endorphins and dopamine. The addiction to dramatic validation. The city's week-long blizzard had paralyzed traffic, forcing Sophia's stall closure. But obsessed lovers won't be deterred. Ethan began braving the storm daily, trudging half an hour through snowdrifts to Sophia's apartment for lamb stew. The harsh weather only intensified their clandestine thrill. Through my hidden camera, I watched their domestic tableau, Ethan at the dining table, Sophia bustling about solely for him, their frequent exchanged smiles painting a deceptively cozy scene. Days earlier, Max had sent an invoice with terse explanation, installed camera at Dad's place. See for yourself. I'd approved immediately. Ethan's meticulous nature crumbled around Sophia like dry timber catching fire. Knowledge meant control and fair retaliation. During one particularly tender moment between soup-sipping lawyer and adoring hostess, Max made his earth-shaking entrance. "So you're the homewrecker," he barked. Both froze as Sophia rushed to explain while Ethan stiffly claimed mere customer status. Derek scoffed. "Who the hell drinks soup daily in this freezing weather? You'd die without it?" Guess the neighbors weren't kidding. His eyes narrowed suspiciously at Ethan. "But why y'all acting jumpy? If you're banging, just admit it. What's the big deal?" He suddenly gasped dramatically. "Wait, are you one of those romance scammers?" Ethan's face darkened. "I'm an attorney." "Married then?" The color drained from Ethan's face. "I just come for the soup." "Holy shit!" Derek jumped up, knocking over his chair. "You're trying to screw my stepmom. Get the hell out." "Married creep hitting on widows? I'll beat your..." Sophia screamed as they grappled. Winter air flooding the open doorway. Half the neighborhood materialized like snowflakes, rubbernecking from porches. "Don't fall for his tricks." "Sophia!" Mrs. Jenkins called out. "Remember that charity donor from 3 years back?" Turned out his wife came screaming with divorce papers. Blushing fiercely, Sophia insisted Ethan was merely a customer. After that spectacle, Ethan's visits became furtive, parking 2 blocks over. Arriving after dark, their stolen moments grew charged with tension. Entire conversations passing through locked gazes across her cluttered kitchen. Meanwhile, I emailed Ethan revised divorce terms. His reply burned my screen. No. One frostbitten afternoon, security cameras caught Sophia wiping tears. "I'm leaving town. Max is almost grown. This arrangement feels improper." Her voice cracked. "My aunt found me a widower back home. 52. But at my age. Absolutely not." Ethan's fist dented her Formica counter. "You'll marry me. Only me. And make me your mistress?" Her laugh sounded broken. "I may be poor, Ethan, but I've got dignity. Just wait. The settlement. You're the damn divorce lawyer." She hurled a ladle against backsplash tiles. "You make $20 million a year. Why nickel and dime over assets? I want real love, not financial chess games." That night, my phone buzzed. Ethan's text glowed coldly. "House yours. I take liquid assets and Lucas." My reply came swift. "Both stay." His counter-strike arrived via camera footage days later, Sophia serving wonton soup in translucent lace. Damp hair clinging to collarbones. Ethan's gaze tracked her like a starving man. Fingers twitching toward her wrist. "You think I'm some cheap thrill?" She recoiled as if scalded. "Last supper. Counselor. Next month I'm bride shopping in Alabama." He lingered till midnight on her sagging couch. When dawn cracked the sky, another text blinked through. "Take the house. Take everything. Just let me keep our son." I watched snowplows carve black tracks through white streets. My throat tightened. Truth was, I wasn't certain Lucas would choose me. He was a child prodigy who could memorize anything after one glance at age 3. Began studying chess at 5. And earned the Wunderkind title by 7. Different from other kids from the start, Lucas never cried or acted clingy. Though I managed his daily needs, he maintained emotional distance. As a psychology professor, I'd researched similar cases. Such intellectually advanced children often lag in emotional expression due to their overdeveloped cognitive functions. To him, I, Emily, and Ethan, and our housekeeper seemed equally insignificant. After enrolling Lucas with a chess master, I'd visit only to find him absorbed in games, responding to me with detached courtesy. On his tournament day, I dropped him off before heading to campus. Returning late, I found him already giving post-match interviews after swiftly defeating his opponent. There stood Ethan and Grandma Harper, the latter beaming while clutching Lucas' hand. Ethan addressed cameras with practiced ease, his legal career having skyrocketed after that high-profile divorce case where clients chose him specifically for being the prodigy's father. He'd always been Lucas' official spokesperson, leveraging this for endless client referrals. Spotting me, Ethan first whispered instructions to his mother before approaching. "Emily," he said with false warmth, "considering our years together, I've been generous with the settlement. That amount might mean everything to you, but it's barely a year's earnings for me. Lucas belongs with me." My jaw tightened. "Did Lucas choose you?" He smirked, stepping aside to reveal our son helping Grandma into his Mercedes. "What do you think?" My nails dug into palm saws. The car door suddenly swung open. Lucas emerged, backpack in tow, ignoring Grandma's protests. He walked toward me with deliberate steps, declaring, "I went back to Dad's car for my bag. You're late, Mom." Swallowing emotion, I crouched to his eye level. "You're right. I didn't expect you'd finish so quickly." Ethan's composure shattered. "Lucas, we're leaving. I've hired Grandmaster Chen for you." The boy tilted his head. "But aren't you divorcing Mom?" "I can't go with you anymore." Taking my trembling hand, he added, "Let's go. I've got tomorrow's match." "Of course, son," I managed, voice thick. In the car, I watched rearview mirror reflections. "Lucas, do you really understand what divorce means?" The 7-year-old's answer pierced my soul. "My coach says never mourn lost territory on the chessboard." Tears blurred my vision. I'd mistaken his silence for emotional absence. But true masters conserve their energy. He'd simply been waiting for the right moment to act. When Sophia appeared weeks later in that sheer negligee, weeping about being just friends, Ethan finally snapped. The sound of tearing fabric echoed through our empty penthouse, carrying the limp Sophia into the bedroom step by step. I exited the camera feed. Max wouldn't let it go, texting, "Your husband's been holed up in that room for a full day now. Want me to help you catch him cheating? Don't bother. Even after this? Don't you want payback? You're just gonna let these lovebirds fly off together? You don't understand. They need to stay together for my revenge to work." 2 days later, Emily and Ethan finalized their divorce at the Civil Affairs Bureau. The house, money, and son Lucas all went to her. Though leaving empty-handed, Ethan radiated vitality, hardly surprising after half a year's abstinence followed by sudden indulgence. Like parched earth soaking up rain. As they stepped out of the bureau, Ethan sneered, "Think you've won, Emily? By next year when my firm brings in new partners, my dividends will double. The scraps you fought for won't even cover my annual earnings." And Lucas, he'll eventually realize which parent can truly support his future. How long can you trap him then? Mid-sentence, his legs buckled inexplicably. Flushing crimson, he scrambled up while staring at his shoes. Emily watched calmly before smiling. "Congratulations. If you live long enough to enjoy it. That is." He frowned, but she turned sharply and strode away. Weeks later, Max stormed into one of their trysts with friends. Camera flashing. Hand over hush money or these go viral. The humiliated Ethan surrendered his last $30,000 savings. Through tears. Sophia demanded immediate marriage with lavish ceremonies. Threatening or those thugs will ruin us. Ethan eventually mortgaged his firm's equity for $5 million partial down payment on Sophia's condo. The rest funding their extravagant wedding. On the eve of ceremonies, Sophia texted mockingly, "Still keeping your promise, little sister?" Always. During the reception's climax, as Sophia tearfully proclaimed, "The hardest trials are behind us," viral headlines exploded. Top divorce attorney sacrifices all for love. The crowd's thunderous applause included Emily's genuine smile. 6 months later, Emily sat in traffic outside hospital with Lucas when she spotted Ethan and Sophia slumped on a planter bench, clutching medical reports. Sophia suddenly shrieked. The results didn't change. "How is this happening?" Before fleeing, Ethan remained motionless until Max materialized, yanking him up by collar. "Where's my $40,000? Want those sex tapes leaked?" Wiping blood from split lip, Ethan murmured, "No money left. Do what you want." His hollow gaze returned to the pavement as Emily drove past. Lucas obliviously chattering about chess strategies in the back seat. Max snapped. "No money? Aren't you the boss? What about the dividends? Who are you trying to fool?" Ethan looked up at the sky quietly. "I'm sick. ALS. My partners pulled their investments the moment they heard. The equity value barely covered the $5 million loan. I can't work now. No income." Max looked incredulous. "Not even a penny left?" Ethan smiled bitterly. "If I weren't sick, that amount would mean nothing." But his unfinished sentence trailed off as a tear slid down his cheek. The rear car window suddenly rolled down. I turned to see Lucas staring outside, calling Dad. When Ethan saw us, his body jerked. He lowered his head, voice breaking. "Lucas. Emily. I'm sick. I've missed you both so." "Dad. Your collar." Lucas continued. Ethan lifted his tear-streaked face in confusion. "What?" "There's dog poop on it." The boy pressed the window button as he spoke. Through the closing glass, we saw Ethan's despairing face frozen in helplessness. For a long time afterward, I deliberately avoided news about Ethan and Sophia. Once fate's gears start turning, the outcome becomes inevitable. That day found Lucas and me lingering in the living room after trying our housekeeper's new recipe. I'd changed my parenting approach, beyond go lessons. I wanted him to experience more of life. After thoughtful silence, he surprised me. "Mom, are you lonely?" I almost laughed, then slowly nodded. "Yes. I'd like you to spend more time with me." He considered before agreeing. From then on, our evenings included shared TV time instead of immediate retreat to separate rooms. When Sophia's face flashed across the news screen, I froze. She'd become unrecognizable, sallow skin stretched over sharp cheekbones, lips thin as razor cuts. The camera caught her dabbing tears. My cursed life. One husband paralyzed. Now this one with ALS. Society should help women like me. The footage cut to a shabby bedroom where skeletal Ethan lay staring at water-stained ceilings. The reporter waxed dramatic. "Regardless of circumstances, Mrs. Martin's devotion inspires us. She married for love when he sacrificed everything for her. Now she stands by him through." "Mom," Lucas interrupted, eyes fixed on the screen. "I want to see Dad." 2 days later, I frowned at the crumbling apartment building, worse than Sophia's old residence. We climbed creaking stairs to find an open door revealing squalor. Just as I doubted the address, guttural noises came from a corner bed. Ethan's sunken eyes locked onto us, tears leaking from reddened rims as we approached. Son," he slurred, trembling fingers reaching. I said nothing. watching Lucas study the withered man who'd once been his father. His sunken eyes and emaciated frame bore little resemblance to the sharp, spirited Ethan I once knew. The once clear gaze now held a murky dullness, his unevenly cropped hair clearly hacked by amateur hands. Stray vegetables and rice grains clung to his damp shirt front as he stared unblinkingly at me, anguish and regret swimming in those hollow eyes. I steadied my voice. Lucas wanted to see you. Our son pulled a stack of bills from his backpack. Dad, this is my New Year's lucky money. I want you to have it. Sophia swept into the room with a derisive snort, snatching the cash from Lucas' hands. $2,000? Her venomous glare shifted to me. Pathetic. Considering the $2 million he left you. My gaze remained steady. What happened to your $500,000? And the house he bought you? That dump? She flicked imaginary dust from her designer blouse. 20% down on a mortgage we couldn't afford after his accident. Sold it for this place, at least it's paid off. $80,000 in the bank gives us $1,800 monthly interest plus welfare checks. Barely enough. Her acrylic nails tapped the worn sofa arm. Emily, since he's your child's father, shouldn't you return some of that money? A humorless laugh escaped me. Thought you didn't care about money? If our situations were reversed, would you spare me a dime? Turning to the trembling figure on the couch, I spoke calmly. You vowed to remain faithful for love. Ethan. Congratulations, that prison sentence is lifelong now. And Sophia, my smile turned icy. You wanted to play the devoted wife nursing her crippled husband? Enjoy your matching golden handcuffs. Ethan's choked sob filled the room as I took Lucas' hand. What about Dad? He whispered later on the sidewalk. When I asked if he resented me, the 11-year-old shook his head gravely. My teacher says chess masters never regret their moves. One wrong piece. His small shoulders lifted in a shrug more mature than his years. Exhaling slowly, I suddenly gripped his shoulders. Promise me you'll never become one of those cliché CEOs chasing his wife to the crematorium. Okay? You've got that brooding vibe already. Lucas tilted his head. Why would anyone chase love to a funeral home? As I floundered for explanation, his eyes lit with understanding. Oh, like Dad's situation? Don't worry, Mom. His smile carried quiet certainty. I'm the chess player here. We take responsibility for every move. Though half his words eluded me, I believed him completely. After all, my son Lucas? That kid's playing four-dimensional chess while the world stuck checkers.